Good morning, guys. Sorry I'm a little late today, but as you can kind of see, I'm a little under the weather. Not COVID or anything like that. Lucky me, in January, I got poison ivy. Yeah, uh, one of my neighbors offered me some free firewood, cherry wood, and I thought, hey, that would be good for the smokehouse. And so I went and got some cherry wood from him, and little did I know it had poison ivy on it. You know, cold, so fortunately I had long sleeves on and everything like that, but doesn't mean I still didn't get something on my hands and, like I've said before, touching your face. And of course now my eyes are kind of swollen, and I've got it in some other areas too that I won't be talking about, which are very uncomfortable. Let's just leave it that way. So if you're wondering why I look a little funky, that's why. Real quick this morning, I wanted to share something. Y'all know, I think we talked about it on Tuesday's live stream, that Chicken Prepper passed. And overnight, I got an email from her husband about her story and her daughter and everything. And mind you, this Chicken Prepper is a fellow vet. So, that makes it even harder to take, losing a prepper, losing a person, losing a vet, in her 40s is not exactly something good. But I'm going to link a video and the GoFundMe page. And after you see the video, you'll understand why the GoFundMe page. But if you guys want to take a look at that, I know. So, but, my condolences to American Man and, the whole family there. And I'm sure I speak for everybody in this family that, we lost another family member, and it hurts your heart every time. But, so see what we can do to help out. Okay, into the meat and potatoes of today. As many of you probably know, yesterday, the Supreme Court started taking up hearings on the private sector mandate on companies with over 100 people. Heard deliberations for about 3.5 hours, and obviously a decision hasn't come down yet, but you can pretty much figure out it's going to be overturned. And this is how ridiculous this gets, okay? And I'm going to give you a thought here. The commentary that came out of the Supreme Court was anything despicable would be a compliment for it. Supreme Court justices are supposed to be the most well-in-tuned, highly educated legal minds in the country, okay? They are supposed to make decisions based on the law, not on personal opinion. We got to listen yesterday to some of the most egregious comments you can imagine. Sonia Sotomayor is so clueless about this. She made a comment about there's over 100,000 kids in beds, and most of them in ICU beds, and most of them on ventilators, when actually there's a little more than 3,000. Okay, so talk about mountains out of molehills. Stephen Breyer made the comment of, well, if we pass this right now and everybody gets vaccinated right now, we'll save 750,000 people a day. No. Okay. Elena Kagan came out and said, I believe it was Kagan, it might have been Sotomayor, came out and said that Omicron is more deadly than Delta. I want to know who's feeding these justices these lies, because they are supposed to make decisions based on the facts, the Constitution, and the law. That is what they are there for. Not to interject their personal feelings, certainly not to kowtow to the lies that are being told out there from both sides. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But this is how important voting is. And I know you're going to say, we don't vote for Supreme Court justices. You are correct. Now, this is where we get into all the people that say, I've given up, I'm not voting anymore, it's all crooked, it's all this crap. Okay? Yeah. Believe that? I'm right there with you. Okay? Except for the not voting anymore. Because I want you to think about something really quick. Imagine what would be going on in the Supreme Court right now if nobody came out and voted in 2016. You would have had Hillary Clinton in the White House. You would have had, instead of Kavanaugh and Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court, you would have had probably Merrick Garland and a couple other liberal Looney Tunes who would have rubber stamped some of this insanity. Guys, voting is extremely important. Not that I really have to tell you that, you should know that, okay? And even if there's nefarious activity that goes along, I got to be careful with words here. Even if something silly happens, you still have to do it, because if you don't vote, guaranteed the communist left is going to win. These three liberal judges, which, mind you, they're supposed to be nonpartisan, okay? We know that's not true. I mean, the funny part is, if you look at the judges that have been appointed by the last conservative presidents, for the most part, they are nonpartisan. Roberts sided with the liberal wing on Obamacare. Amy Coney Barrett did not take up the University of Indiana case earlier. Okay, we've still got the whole deal with the Mississippi law on basically challenging Roe versus Wade. We don't know about that one yet. They're supposed to be nonpartisan. The liberal justices, the ones appointed by Obama, the ones appointed by Bill Clinton, all right, no. All right, they are pure partisan hacks. And we need to keep those people off the bench. This is this whole deal about let's pack the court, okay? They don't want to pack the court with qualified justices. They want to pack the court with liberal activists. That's how important this is. Chances are very good that Biden's mandate will get struck down by the Supreme Court. Not because it's a conservative principle, because it violates the law. All right? I will tell you this. There's plenty of conservatives who are totally for the mandates. There are liberals who are completely against the mandates. This is not a partisan issue, okay? The only reason it's a partisan issue with the court is because, bow down to Biden, and, we've got to rubber stamp whatever the king wants to do. This is why it's so important. Your way of life depends 100% upon your vote. If you decide that you do not want to vote, you have no right, absolutely zero, to bitch about anything going on in this country that you don't like. If we wind up completely falling to communism, if AOC runs for president in 24 and wins, and all of a sudden we're under some socialist, communist monarchy, if you will, tyrannical dictatorship, and you didn't vote, you have no right whatsoever to bitch. It's imperative that if you want to maintain your way of life, if you want to keep this country from falling apart any more than it has already fallen apart, it is imperative that you let the government, you choose the government, okay, or do your part to choose the government. Because little things that you go, like I said yesterday, not in my backyard. I'm not worried about it because it really doesn't affect me. The people you vote for do affect you, because if you work for a company that's got more than 100 people, those who are sitting on the Supreme Court are put there, and on any court, okay, mind you, any federal court, are put there by the people that you did or did not vote for. Nine people, guys. 9 people literally control the fate of this country. 6 of them were appointed by Republicans, I will not say conservatives. 3 of them were appointed by communists, liberals. Okay, yes, all of them. Because if you don't think Hillary was pulling the strings for Bill, you're sadly mistaken. But I want you to think about this. Right now, it's a 6-3 conservative choice. Okay, I won't say majority, okay, because I don't believe in that. It could very, very easily be the other way around if Hillary Clinton got to pick 3 Supreme Court justices. I want you to think about how scary this world could be. The United States saved itself from the brink of disaster in 2016. Imagine where the world would be right now if Hillary Clinton was elected. We would be under complete communist control. Inevitably, we would be at war. Okay? There's no question about that whatsoever, just by her actions, her talks, or whatever. We didn't like Trump's mean tweets, so we put in the potato that's in there, which basically gave Obama a 3rd term. And he's been the most disastrous president, regardless of the spin they tried to put on it, in his 1st term ever. Okay? He has 0 accomplishments that are good for the country. What he calls accomplishments are failures. Okay? I'd hate to see what he calls his failures. Okay? You know, this is where we are, guys. We saved ourselves once. We've got to save ourselves again. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't thank God that there are still very few, but there are still some people in this country, in Washington, D.C., who actually do love this country and don't want to turn it into the Soviet Union, into China, into Cuba, into Venezuela, into Zimbabwe, whatever. We're the minority that want to keep freedom and democracy. We just need to be loud about it. And you have to vote, guys. It sucks what happened. But this whole Voting Rights Act thing that the Democrats are trying to push through, that's just to make their nefarious actions that much easier to do with no paper trail. That's how important this is, guys. Your way of life, your freedom depends on the fact that you get off your ass, and go punch that ticket. Take that seriously. It's the most important right you have. You want to prep for something that is scarier than hell? Prep to live in a communist state. Go do some research on living in the Soviet Union under Stalin. Prep for that, because that's where we're headed if you decide that Netflix is more important than voting. Pinball out.